Greetings, oh radiant one. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Yes, I am Reiki Master Allison, and I am here for another video regarding chakra or chakra health for women in menopause. Um, and this is part of a Rooted and Radiant video series. So far we've covered the root chakra as well as the sacral chakra. So now we have made our way on up to the solar plexus. Now, before I jump into to the solar plexus, I just want to remind everyone in case you didn't know. So I guess this will be like a new thing that you learn. Some people know it, some people don't. But the root, the sacral, and solar are all part of what is called the matter. So the seven chakras are separated into three groups. So the root, the solar, and the sacral, this is the matter. For me, when I'm teaching it, I'm like, this is the human part of us, right? Because it deals with our emotions, how we think of ourselves, etc. So it's the human experience that we're having, um, that the matter encompasses. That's the way that I explain it. Some people might explain it differently, but that's what I do. So today we're talking about the solar plexus, and we are yellow, just like my head wrap, just like my necklace, just like the name here. Yeah, so solar plexus is yellow. So let's jump on in and talk about the solar plexus. So, again, we're talking about menopausal chakra health. And at this point in our lives, this is a profound physical, emotional, and spiritual transition that every woman is going to experience. Going to keep saying that because this is for us. And we're speaking from an energetic perspective with this, okay? So, the solar plexus is right under the breastbone down to the navel. So sometimes some people may call the solar plexus the navel chakra. Okay. So if you ever hear someone say that, they're talking about the solar plexus, basically. So the solar plexus is about our personal power, our identity, and confidence. Um, there's also some ego going on there as well. But that's a whole other discussion for another time. So, the solar plexus, here's what can happen to us in menopause as far as our solar plexus is concerned. And then we'll just talk about it a little bit. So, you might start to question your purpose. It never fails when you start hitting around 40, going into that part of your life. I don't know about you, but I know I did. I started questioning my purpose. I started questioning my purpose, my identity, like who the hell am I? I told you all before about how I wrote my book, starting over at 40, my sacred journey of self-discovery, empowerment, and self-love. And this is one of the things that I talk about is that transition from, mommy into a different dynamic with my son. That's what kind of started for me. It wasn't exactly a midlife crisis, but it was a wake up call for me, right? Because I had spent like all of his lifetime, those 17, 18 years making my life completely devoted to him. He was everything in my life, right? The sun rose and set upon the ass of my son in my life. So when I got around 40, I started asking these questions because number one, he was graduating from high school and about to move on. He wasn't moving out, but he was moving on because he was going to go to culinary art school and everything else. So it's like, okay, I've raised him. He's grown up now, quote unquote. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? So yeah, I started questioning my purpose a lot. around that time. Um, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. It was kind of a gradual starting to step into my purpose, excuse me, and personal power. Because the whole thing of, as I was saying, it's your personal power, your identity, and confidence, as I talk about in here, how I was, like my whole identity changed. And for a lot of us, that's what's happening right now. Our kids are graduated from high school, some are graduating from college or going to college, going into the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, whatever branch of the military, or they're just, moving on with their lives. They're getting married, they having children, and then the other piece of that, as we get further into this stage of our lives, we're starting to take care of our parents. So again, our whole identity shifts. Like it feels like in a blink of an eye. It just happens, right? So we have to get grounded in that. I know that's what we typically look at with the root chakra, but it's all relative. It's all relative. So so excuse me. You also start to feel a loss of control because there's so many things happening right now hormonally. As we talked about with the sacral chakra of our emotions can get heightened and just be all over the place. We can be like going along and all of a sudden, we start feeling like really mad or sad, or we might just wake up feeling really blah and just not being able to just like comprehend, like, why am I feeling like this? Why do I feel so like out of sorts? And anxiety also starts to, for a lot of us, I've had issues with anxiety for years, but when I hit into perimenopause, it took it times 10, maybe even times 10 times 10 for me. So, um, then there starts to be some digestive issues because that's a good indicator that your solar plexus is off. If you're having like some digestive issues, you're having issues in your solar plexus, and you may want to go ahead and address it, okay, before it manifests into something bad. Now, I'm the type of person that feels and believes that mostly the things that we deal with start in the metaphysical first, and then it manifests into the physical. Um, so we want to start checking those things and figuring those out. So here's some of the things that we can use as support for our solar plexus health while we're in menopause. So breath work. Breath work is always, always, always gonna be like number one stunner. Okay. It's just good. I One of the speakers in the Melanated Medicine Summit, Kathleen Booker. She's known as the Jedi of Calm. She talks about and teaches breath work. She uses breath work to help people become connected to their breath. When I started learning from her, especially some of her teachings, I started realizing, hey, we really do hold our breath a lot during the course of the day, and we don't even realize we're doing it, right? So when we start having those hot flashes, those mood swings, those things that come with menopause that just seem to roll in like thunder with us, take a breath. Start breathing. Start connecting yourself with the breath. Start um giving yourself giving yourself time during the day to like have like 5 minutes, 10 minutes of where you are just one with the breath. And some of the things like I talked about this during the root chakra when I was talking about my use of cedar wood when I would give myself a foot massage and then put my feet flat on the floor. And I just take some deep breaths and I just sit and just breathe. And I allow myself to have that moment. Well, with the solar plexus, there's no different. You need to give yourself that opportunity to feel those fat belly breaths so that you can connect with yourself in your breathing. Okay. Another thing that you can do is core strengthening movements. So, like when we talked about with the sacral chakra and how moving your hips, getting a weighted hula hoop, stuff like that can really help you. Well, guess what will happen with that? You're strengthening your core, right? So, doing core strengthening movements can help with the solar plexus. So it kind of connects the three of them if you think about it. If you start doing those types of movements, it's your lower body. So all of those areas that matter all benefits from lower body movement and work. Setting boundaries, very important. Not always the easiest thing to do, but this is the time to really start doing them, okay? Because that helps you stand in your personal power. Then you are taking that control back and saying, no, this is not acceptable. I don't like this. I don't want this. This doesn't feel in alignment with who I am. So I choose not to do this anymore or participate in that or be around this person, etc. The next thing is saying affirmations like, I stand in my power. I stand in my power. Okay. All right. So let's talk about the essential oils and crystals that you can use to help you. So, lemon and ginger. Now, what do both of those have in common? Well, they're very good with digestion. So let's take the essential oil part out of it. Let's say you buy fresh lemon, fresh ginger, and you make yourself a tea. That is so good for your gut health. So good for your gut health. But if you're gonna use the essential oils, get the good oils, because those you can rub on your body. You may even be able to ingest them, and they'll just do your body a world of good. Okay, you can take some lemon, drop a couple of drops of lemon and a drop of ginger oil, and you can use that like in your water, and that can help with a nice, beautiful detox. Okay. Now, for crystals, citrine. Citrine is actually one of my favorite stones. Um, I use citrine a lot. Citrine actually calls out for me to use it when I am performing Reiki. And of course, for all of your chakras, I always recommend Reiki. I will always recommend Reiki. I'm Reiki Master Allison. Of course, I'm going to recommend some Reiki. But let's get back to citrine. Citrine is like my favorite. Then my second favorite is the next one, Tiger's Eye. Those are phenomenal when you are working on your personal power and confidence. It helps kind of balance things out so you don't go too far in confidence and going into the ego where you become egotistical and an asshole that nobody wants to be around. Okay, there's a fine line between being confident and just being out and out asshole. Okay, um, but we do want you to be confident. Okay. So that is the discussion for the solar plexus. So again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Okay. Sharing is caring. And you know that you know some other women that are in menopause right now that needs this. Okay. So just go on and send them my way. It'll be much appreciated. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.